Kia ora, New Zealand, and kia ora, Universe. Victoria Velasquez Vincent here, your Miss Universe New Zealand 2024, and I am back with another episode interviewing the Miss Universe New Zealand 2025 candidates. And I have a very special guest today who might be familiar to some of you, and she is certainly familiar to myself. I am here with Zelle. Hello, Zelle. How are you?
Hello, V. So good to see you.
I know, so nice to see you on my screen. I do miss seeing you in the flesh, but it's nice to see you on my screen anyway. I want us to assume, even though, I mean, we know that you competed last year with me, I like some people that are watching might know some stuff about you, but I want us to pretend that they don't know anything about you. So can you please introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Zal. I currently call Auckland my home. I would say I'm a very huge advocate of health and wellness. And I think it has been the biggest guiding anchor in my life. And that has allowed me to open up into the different versions of me and embrace all the different versions of me. A little background about myself, aside of that, is that I work in the tech industry as a UX designer. And I also work as a model. And I'm also someone who wants to pursue entrepreneurial journey for myself. And I'm also into pageantry, and I'm really just excited and grateful to be in this journey.
And we are excited to have you. For those who also don't know, Zelle makes the most beautiful Instagrammable smoothie bowls. I haven't tried one, but I am desperate to try one, so I'm going to try one when I come home. And I need you to teach me how to make them look good, because when I make it, I just like chuck everything on. I'm like, you know what? It's going to end up in my stomach anyway. But then I don't get to take photo for Instagram. So thank you so much for sharing about yourself. I want to start this off really relaxed. And I did a very deep dive of your Instagram. You produce some really great content, first of all. And you're so consistent with your social media, which is so nice.
Thank you.
And it helps with, like, obviously the campaigning for Miss Universe New Zealand. So that's nice to see. But when was this from? Wow, I scrolled all the way down to 2021.
How far? Oh my God.
I shot this photo. And honestly, you haven't aged since this photo. I need to know what fountain of youth you were drinking. But this photo here, could you please tell me a story or just anything about this photo?
When did I post that? 2021. Okay. Yeah. That was a photo that I posted from 2021. But I think, did I put the year there? It's like 16 years?
Years ago, yeah.
So that means that time that I took it was 16 years ago. So by today, 20, I was third year high school during that time. And you know how we have the junior prom and the senior prom. So that was that time I was awarded Miss Junior. Wow. And the reason why I posted it on 2021 is I think I was looking into my journals. I love journaling. And sometimes when I'm tidying up or just have time for myself, I enjoy just scrolling through them and getting inspiration from my past self. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this was me 16 years ago. Who would have thought? That was my first crown that I ever had. And, you know, I'm not new to pageantry, but I would say that I don't think of myself as a pageant girl. Like growing up, like if I look at that photo and if you say something about that girl, if you tell her that she's going to be a beauty queen or she's going to join pageant, she'd be like, hell no way. You know? And so when I posted that, I was like, oh my God, how cool it is. I feel like it reminded me that everything that we have in our present life gives us a clue of our future life. And when I saw that, I was just like reminded that, oh my God, it has gone full circle. From being the shy girl, I got into pageantry, and just makes me feel like everything is connected. There's no coincidence. And there's so much room for growth. You know, I see that and I compare it to myself now, and I was like, oh my God. It's so touching to see how, I guess I just have this appreciation for how far I've come. And at that time, I didn't even know what I did to have that crown. You know, you're just showing up in a beautiful gown. It's in you attend your junior prom. But it made me a little bit killing, you know, because I just feel like, oh my God, it's so cool to see how far I've come and how this journey has been, made me reflect, you know?
That is so special. It goes to show you have been destined to be a queen for 20 years. So hopefully that destiny all comes to like fruition on June 24. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
please manifest that for me.
I love that. And so you mentioned that if you were to go and tell your third year of high school self that you were going to be competing in pageants when she was older, she would laugh at you basically. I want to know, what advice would you give to your younger self? The little girl, the beautiful little Zelle in that picture. What advice would you give to her about, it doesn't have to be about pageantry, it can just be about life or anything like that.
I would tell her to keep pushing through that curiosity, whatever it is. Could be for your career, for your skill, for your confidence, for wherever you want to travel, for who you wanted to meet. Because obviously I didn't grow up as a confident girl, but I've always asked so many questions about life. And it's very scary to pursue big things. But I think the first step before even taking that courage is to acknowledge that curiosity. What is it that I'm leaning on to? Whatever it is, what can I do to learn more about it? What can I do to hold that? I want this, I want that, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. It all starts from acknowledging what I'm curious about. So I would say to her, don't think of the what ifs, don't think of how hard it is. Don't think of how challenging it could be or how you're going to lose. Just follow that curiosity, follow that intuition, and everything will fall into place. And sometimes where you want to go isn't always what you wanted, but I find it beautiful that life doesn't give you what you want, but gives you something better than you've imagined. So I want to tell her that, to trust the journey and follow it.
And like you said, everything sort of falls into place the way that it's meant to, right?
Yes.
I feel like every time I'm scared, like the present day me, every time I'm scared to do something or pursue something or like chase an opportunity, I like visualize myself like grabbing the hand of little V and being like, come on, let's do it. Because it like even if you don't feel brave for yourself, like you have to feel brave for your younger self as well, right? And like make sure that she's living the dream and the future that she is meant to live out, and that's up to you in the present moment. So
I resonate with that one, holding your little V.
yeah, in another universe, I wonder if little Zell and little V would have competed
Have met
together.
and have met each other.
Yeah, we're always destined to meet in some way. That's so cute. So I know a little bit about your career, obviously not to the depths that you do, but in UX design, like it's very much a creative but also a tech focused field, right? Yeah. So how do you think that your career, whether it's in UX design or even modeling or like your focus on holistic wellness, how or what skills have you managed to pick up from all of those realms that you can bring into the pageantry realm?
I think in both my tech career and in my modeling career, even though they're different industries, different worlds, what's common about them, it's about connection, understanding the brief, learning what the problem we're trying to solve. You know, when I'm in the tech world as UX designer, it is very important that you have the empathy for our users. I need to understand who my users are so I can design better experiences for them. And same as a model, I need to understand what is the brief so I can show up to what is needed. And to me, in the pageant realm, it's all about having that empathy and giving a good user experience to the people who are around me. If it's about the judge, if it's about the audience, if it's about the directors, or even if it's about the pageant fans, and most importantly, for the community, right? So what I could bring is my communication skills, my empathy, and using both of them to create thoughtful solutions for what is needed, for what we're trying to solve. In the tech world, we always ask, what's the problem we're trying to solve? And in pageantry, obviously, if you're looking at the big grand scale of things, there's so many things in the world that we're trying to solve, that we're advocating for. And to me, it's about using all of my transferable skills to use that platform and contribute to that cause, to that advocacy.
It sounds like you've developed a great sense of like versatility as well, which I think is really important for any Miss Universe or any other pageant girl who wants to really win. Because like you come into contact with so many different types of people, like you said, like
Mhm.
outside of just the competition, it's like Miss Universe herself will have the opportunity to like step into rooms with some of the most influential and powerful people in the world. And so there's like a huge responsibility for her to do justice to that opportunity and, you know, like convince them that her causes are worth focusing on and that sort of
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
But then at the same time, you know, Miss Universe will also go to some of the most underprivileged communities or communities that are struck by natural disaster. And so you have to show up as a different person, all while
Yeah.
staying true to yourself. So I feel like you're well equipped.
Oh, thank you, V. I always think that all of the versions and roles that I've put in my life are preparing me for something big. Maybe it could be this Miss Universe, or even if it's not Miss Universe, I want to continue honing on all those different skills
Mm,
and just, leave light and purpose to wherever I go.
I love
Yeah.
that. Beautiful. That's a nice. So as we know, I was just chatting to Carmina before you, and
Yes.
as you know, she's also part Filipino. And
Yes.
as we all know, pageantry is like a huge thing in the Philippines. It's like a national sport. It's like the beauty Olympics. It's, you know, huge.
Totally.
Unfortunately, New Zealand hasn't quite, I guess, like they haven't quite understood or acknowledged how powerful the pageantry platform can be, especially one as substantial and large as Miss Universe.
Yes.
So, and like I feel like that comes with very like preconceived ideas that are based on a lack of knowledge or like biases.
Mm.
So people often think that pageantry is like just superficial.
Mm.
If you were to come across someone that thought that way, how would you convince them that that's not the case?
Mm. Being in the tech industry and in the modeling industry and wearing all these different hats, first off, I could say that pageantry is the same as any other industry. Everyone puts in the same effort. People think about it because the main thing about pageants is being on stage, looking glamorous with all our makeup and beautiful gowns. But honestly, you for sure will know. Above all people, be you would know that it's not just about the looks. There is so much that happens backstage, and there's so much preparation. I would say, I would convince them by telling them not about what happens on the pageant night, but what happens behind the scenes, what challenges the girls get into, and what are the skills that every one of us are honing when we get into this journey. There's a lot to it, right? It's not about looks, it's not about the guns, it's about how you show up for your fundraising events, how you use your platform to create change, how you use your platform to even, not even to just create change, but to share your story and hopefully inspire other people to go after their dreams, be courageous, be out there, put themselves out of their comfort zone. There's just so much to it. And if you think that pageantry is just about yourself being on stage, I don't see it that way. I think pageantry is about community as well. How can you, and again, I'm thinking about my experience hat, how can I make the experience so that other people could contribute and share the platform with me? Because my intention in joining this universe is not just about putting me on the limelight. This is about putting everyone else who is with me in the journey and putting people who have the courage to show up and also support a good cause.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's a lot of hard work. If I have the opportunity to really like meet them on the street and it's like, you know what? Come along with me. Join me in whatever I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna show you on the flesh everything that happens.
Absolutely. And you know, part of what I love about Miss Universe New Zealand is like the networking that's required to find your own sponsors.
Oh my
Because,
god, yes.
right? And I like not only do you learn people skills and the ability to network through that process, like which most people might not have done before.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it brings in businesses, you know, the businesses that agree to sponsor. It brings them into the pageantry realm and gives them some like firsthand insight where like their business itself might not be pageantry related, or they might not have had any
Exactly.
experience sponsoring before, but like they get to see what goes on because they're a sponsor. And so I
Yeah.
feel like slowly, like the Miss Universe New Zealand network is like slowly going to expand to the point where people are going to understand and appreciate pageantry more, for sure, hopefully.
Exactly. And like I would add to that, like every job that we have, we always say networking is so important. You have to sell yourself out there. And even that, I resonate with you, even that on the sponsorship. Like I during because I joined and competed with you last year from this universe, and that is such that activity doesn't even make me feel like I was in a pageant. I feel like I'm doing tech work, putting myself out there, making proposals, really getting into the cause of why we're doing this and convincing them of how important this is for our community.
And for
Yeah.
those of you that don't know, Zell is like the best networker I've ever met in my life.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, baby.
Like I know
Always
that
trying.
like it sounds like you're just a good networker, but like behind that, like what I just said, that sentence, Zell is a good networker, there's so many skills required to actually network and actually build relationships and connect with people, and especially
Yes.
like we see with brands that have no clue about pageantry. And so
Yeah.
I hope you're really proud of like the skill set that you've developed to be able to say that like you're good at networking. I have a lot of admiration for you.
Honestly, I received that with so much love. Thank you, V. Not a lot of people can see that, especially with pageantry, right? I've never been given a compliment saying, you're such a good networker in the pageantry scene. And I just have a huge appreciation for that one. So thank you.
Happy to be the first.
Yes, you're the first. So sweet.
So, I mean, both of us know you and I were holding hands on stage last year. Compared to last year, or in addition to last year, because I'm a big believer that we don't necessarily like change, but we grow. We grow into who we're meant to be, and we take who we were last year and the year before and everything along with us. So how do you want the judges to feel, and what do you want them to think when they're both like witnessing your Miss Universe New Zealand campaign from start to finish, but then also during your interview and your performance on stage? How do you want them to feel and think about Zell this year?
This year, I really want them to see how real I am, more about showing up because they've seen me model, they've seen me last year. This year for Miss Universe, I just want them to really get into me, get intimate with BB. I want them to showcase my authenticity, and I want them to know that I'm not here to. I know I'm coming here second time around, but even though I'm coming here second time around, I want them to know that I'm not here to be perfect. There is a lot that comes in here. I don't want them to know me as the girl who has obviously I want them to know me as the girl with the pretty dress on stage, but I want them to see more of what I have to offer outside of that, and what are the skills that I have now. But more importantly, how did I get to this version of me? My past work, my past project, my challenges, everything that they do not see on stage. I want them to feel that. Because if they know my past stories, then they would know the driving force behind why I'm here.
Absolutely. And I feel like people, they think so negatively about social media, or they think that it doesn't mean anything when you're campaigning for a pageant. But what they don't realize is when you walk into the interview, for example, and if someone were to say, like if I were to say, I am a really creative person. I love photography. I also have a passion for architecture and fashion and blah, 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 blah. But then if my Instagram or my social media and my campaign hasn't been reflecting that, it's like, okay, where's the hard evidence that that is how you live your life, right? And even when it comes to advocacy work, like you can say as much as you want in the interview, I volunteer for this organization, or I do this and I do that. But it's like, if you don't really showcase that in your campaign, then nobody's going to see the evidence and nobody's going to see the justification for what comes out of your mouth. So I feel like people need to really harness social media in a better way, which is why I love Like, you're so creative with the way that you curate your feed.
Oh,
I have so much appreciation for that because I'm so fussy when it comes to the way things look and everything.
I know, and I can draw. I'm drawing inspiration from what you post to V, especially from
Oh,
our campaign last year.
yeah.
I love that you just shared your past life, you know, with your mom and dad moving here,
Mm.
and just I think you showcased a photo of you like a relic that you had from the Vincent family. And
Yeah.
this is, you know, your journey here in New Zealand, because I know even though you competed previously in the Philippines, right? But when you competed here in New Zealand, we really showcased that past story, and
Mm.
that was something that we've never seen before. And
Yeah.
you know, we get to see more of VVV
Mm.
in said, and what your connection is with the country, and how you know you've lived your life all these years here. So it's really
Mm.
beautiful, and I'm very inspired with that one.
Oh, thank you so much. One of my favorite things that I did as part of my campaign last year was just like loosen up on social media, because I wanted people to show that I'm just like a normal Kiwi girl, and like, I,
Love that.
like, I'm not like pristine and perfect all the time. I actually don't really like wearing makeup. I prefer wearing activewear most of my life. And
Yeah.
I remember I was trying to think of what I could do to like showcase tourism in New Zealand. Because obviously that falls into it as well. You become an ambassadress of the country and everything. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do like the typical touristy destinations. I'm going to do what I do, which is run around in fields with cows.
Yeah.
Like that's so much more Kiwi, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like, yeah, like for example, like that, you couldn't go into an interview and be like, oh, I'm really down to earth. I really like nature and I really like cows, or like I like animals and getting down and dirty or whatever. But then not have that reflected in like your day-to-day posting and that sort of thing. So I have a lot of appreciation for your campaign. It's really, really good.
Thanks, Bree.
So I'm going to ask you my final question.
Okay.
And it's a bit of a serious one.
Oof. Are you sure?
I
Okay.
feel the pressure. Okay. Obviously, I am the reigning Miss Universe New Zealand. On June 24, why should you be the person that I transfer my crown to?
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful question. Uh, you know, V, you've worn that crown with so much grace, so much resilience and strength. And I'm very inspired with what you did. And I believe you should pass the crown to me because I wanted to continue the legacy that you have started on. This time, continuing the legacy my own way, my authenticity, my resilience, my story, my courage. I feel like I have so much to offer given the experiences and wearing the different hats that I've had in my life. And I just wanted to continue to pour all of me into this journey. I know there are so many beautiful women who are with me in this, but the driving force, I'm going back to the why. The driving force why I'm doing this, I feel like I'm representing all these different women who didn't know their path once when they were young, who wants to have a dream, who wants to try again, who wants to just fully embrace all the different versions of themselves. And I come in here bringing in all my hats so that I could give the best experience and I could give a lot of skills and a lot of things and a lot to offer to the organization and to our community as a beauty queen. So I'm hopeful to have that chance to be given that crown for me.
I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see who is going to take it from me. And if it does happen to be you, not only will I be hugging you, but I will also be hugging the little Zelle that still exists within you from 20 years ago when she won her first crown.
That mini crown.
I look forward to seeing whether that is going to manifest into reality. I really am. So the very final question is not actually from myself.
Tell me.
I have been asking all the girls to leave me with a question to ask the next girl in line. And the girl before you was, like I said, our beautiful fellow Filipina, Carmina. Her question for you is, and she didn't know that it was you, I don't think. Maybe she did. But what is the most important thing about pageantry in 2025?
Oh, the most important thing about pageantry in 2025 is showing up as yourself. Authenticity. For me, it's still authenticity. I think pageantry has changed now from how we look at it before. But for us to be able to create a bigger impact for being in a journey, I think it's so important to show up as you. Every one of us who are in the journey have our own stories, and it's up to us to own our stories, speak our truth, and use that to redefine what strength and beauty means to us. I think if we're really truly showing up as us and not the pageant, how do I say this? You know how we have this pageant persona? Like, to me, it's like, yes, that's beautiful, but let's forget about that. This is the time we need to own up to ourselves so that a lot of people could relate and could also see why we're doing this.
I agree 100%. And I almost resonate with that a little bit because I feel like when I first joined pageantry, and you might have felt the same, like we were just like so fresh to it, right? We had no idea.
Yes, exactly. I remember messaging you at 2021.
Oh, I remember finding that message when we first met for the first time. But like, you know how you like go into it and you have no biases, you have no training, have no preconceived ideas. And so you genuinely go into it as yourself.
Yes.
And I remember the amount of criticism I received for showing up as me and not being perfect all the time and not acting in a certain way, or like, just like things that were out of alignment with me, but sort of like the typical stereotype of a pageant girl. And so I feel like you're right. Like we are shifting towards a time where authenticity is rare, but it's even more important than ever. And so yeah, I have a lot of appreciation for that answer. And so does my 2021 version of myself who had no idea about pageantry.
That, I wanted to add into that because that's exactly, I know not a lot of people know about this. So VVV competed for the first time in the Philippines. And before that year, I competed international as well for Miss Globe, and I went to Albania. And when I saw another Kiwi Filipina performing on stage and doing well and getting into the top 5, I was just like, oh my God, I feel the chills. And I love because it's like when I joined, I was a pageant newbie and I was able to represent my country, right? And when you joined, you were a pageant newbie, and I've seen how far you've come. And I just felt so proud. And I just like, this is how it should be done. I have to message B and tell her. She did not reply to me at that time. But I was just like sending my appreciation because that is rare now, I truly look up to your journey at that time, and it has gone full circle. I feel so happy that we've met last year and that we are here having this conversation. How cool is that?
It's so beautiful. And I want to tell a quick story. I don't know if I've told you this before, and Zell, you guys know, like Zell doesn't know that I'm going to tell this story.
Oh my God.
But on day one, so I'm very introverted, right? And I wouldn't say struggled, but like I carry a little bit of social anxiety with me sometimes. So that's just a bit of a backstory. But on day one of Miss Universe New Zealand, I was really, really anxious. And I didn't know how it was going to go. I was scared to throw myself back in there after, the heartbreak that had occurred at Miss Universe Philippines last year. And then when I met you for the first time, from memory, you were also wearing yellow that day. And you embodied the color yellow. You were like sunshine. And then when you told me that you had messaged me, and I remember we were standing there and I checked and I cried because your message was so, so sweet from 3 years prior. But the type of person that you are, how do I explain this? You bring so much warmth and light to the space that you're in. And even though we didn't actually know each other like properly before the last year, it was almost like that feeling like, just for people watching, I don't know if you can resonate with this, but like when you're like at school and your best friend like doesn't come to school one day and you get really anxious and you're like, oh no, what am I going to do without my best friend? Who am I going to with? But like I felt like every Miss Universe New Zealand event that we had, or like anything that we had to do for Miss Universe New Zealand, because I knew that you were going to be there, I felt like I was like, okay, the little V that's going to school can relax. Like, like because she's going to have her like warm sunshine of a human meeting her over there. And I really appreciate that that's the kind of person that you are. You make people feel instantly like loved and filled with light when you're around them. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for easing my social anxiety last year.
Oh my God, I had no idea that little Zell was jumping in on your with little V on that school bus. I have no idea. That's so sweet to hear, honestly. I'm grateful. Honestly, I don't know what to say because to me, I huge appreciate like what I said. You know, when I was wearing that little crown, past self of us has always is always giving us clues on the future life. And I feel like when I texted you, I just planted the seed. I didn't even know that I'll meet you one day. But to see you in the flesh was just like, wow, this is amazing. And to be able to have this conversation with you and you telling me those huge loving words, those are huge to me. I'm shy. I'm shy.
Give you a hug through my screen.
Oh my God. No, I appreciate it. I just want to, you know, like, I know it's a competition. I know everyone's there for the crown, but I want the girls or everyone who I'm going in on this journey to know that I'm here for them as well. I may not be able to give them, you know, the same support as how their team or your family could be. But, you know, I want to give them, again, a different experience. Like, how can I, as someone who had joined pageantry as well before, how can I help other people, the newbies or even the new ones, feel comfortable in the space? So, always bringing in my designer hat has helped me so much in life.
Good. We love a girl's girl in pageantry as well, because pageantry can be a scary time, let's be honest.
Oh my God, V. I'm sure you know a lot about that. That's not something you say casually, and I know that.
But hopefully it's not going to be a scary, how many weeks do we have left? 6 weeks or 7 weeks? Hopefully it will go all smoothly for you and the rest of the girls as well. I can't wait to cheer you guys on. But before we part ways, could you please leave me with a question for the next lady in line?
Okay. For the next lady in line, I would like to ask if she could describe her journey so far. Could be in life, could be in pageantry, however she wants to think of it. True colors and texture, what would it look like and why?
I love that. Sorry, I was just typing it. I was like rapidly trying to write it down. I love that question. Okay, we love a visual girl. Okay, I can't wait to
It's
see.
really coming on as a designer today.
I love that you're like bringing it all together. No, that's perfect. I can't wait to hear the answer. But anyhow, thank you so very much for your time. I cannot wait to see you in the flesh again once more when I get back to New Zealand. Best of luck with your preparations. I'm sure they're all going swimmingly, and I will see you very, very soon.
See you next time, V. I'm so happy for this time, and thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.